Hey everyone, welcome to the Industry Show. I'm your host NitinBajaj, and joining me today is Ajay Prasad. Ajay, welcome on the show.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting me.
Oh, thanks for hosting us here
Sure.
in your beautiful office.
Thank you.
So tell us, who is Ajay?
So first thing I would say, I'm a husband and a dad, right, of two grown-up sons, and then I'm also a recovering corporate executive and a serial entrepreneur. If you ask me, that's the shortcut in who I am. And I enjoy traveling a lot. So that's one of my only hobby I have in life is traveling. So we do a lot of traveling.
Tell us, what is RepuGen? What is the mission, the vision behind it?
Yeah, so RepuGen is a very interesting story. I happen to own a bunch of other companies also that I've started. For some reason, when I started, I thought that it's much easier to make 5 companies that is doing $1 million rather than one company doing 5 million. Turned out I was right, although I don't think it was such a smart thing anyway, running all these businesses. But one of my business that I own is a digital marketing agency for healthcare providers. And what happened in 14, 15, around that time, there was all of a sudden people started looking at reviews. Reviews became popular. And no one would make a decision without reviews. And we did some market research. My clients are healthcare providers, doctors, urgent care centers, dentists, those are my clients. So what we found is that about 80% of the consumers would check reviews, but unfortunately the reviews on the site they were not really reflecting accurate patient satisfaction. And the reason being that, and we all are guilty of that, people who are unhappy tend to write reviews more than people who are happy.
True.
And who had a good experience.
Yes.
So it always was more negative than it should be. Now it has now 2 implications, right? For the doctors, of course, they are losing patients.
Right.
But even for the patients, they could be rejecting some really good doctors just because of the reviews. So my first task was, I realized that, okay, no matter what I did in terms of marketing, end of the journey, they are going to check the review, right, of the doctor. Yes. And if the review is not good, they are not going to go. And then during that process, I'm like, okay, we have to help. And why? So I started doing satisfaction survey because I was like, actually one of the client, when they wanted to hire me, I told them that I cannot help you because look at how bad your reviews are. Because even I thought that those are the real. And when this person got so upset, I thought she's going to throw something at me because we've been in business for 25 years, we have patients who are coming in, we have even 15, 20 years. What do you mean by that? So I opened my phone and look at the reviews, and she knew everyone. This one has this, so it was very clear to me that, okay, there's something wrong here. So I created some manual program to do that, and so I did 2 things. So I created a manual program to get more reviews, and then I started doing a patient satisfaction survey in the organization itself. It was very clear that the patient satisfaction result was not at all reflecting on the reviews, right? The actual patient satisfaction. So that's when the RepuGen idea came, because before it was all a manual program. Right. So I'm like, okay, why don't I create a software that where the patient can be asked for a survey, right, and then asked to write a review. And the goal would be that the survey result matches the review results, right? That was the goal. So that way it was helping both patient and the doctors. And that's what we did. It was not easy. We created a tool for the website first, and then luckily one of my client, a large client, and they have 400 doctors about, and we were marketing 13 doctors for them. And they came to me and they said, you know what, I don't need marketing for all 400, but I need this thing for all my doctors. Can you do that? Because they were fascinated by getting instant patient satisfaction results, and then of course the reviews help. So this software, I had to ask them, can you sign a contract? And they said, no contract, but if you trust me, if your product, you can come up with a product, it works, we'll buy. So I just jumped into it. So we put like a lot of the resources, and in 1 year we converted that tiny software into a SaaS product. And went to them, they tested, they said, okay, let's test with 45. And the result, immediately they liked it. So the idea was that we'll have a 6-month test. It turned out to be like a 4 weeks test.
Nice.
And after that, they said, okay, let's do everyone. So the good news was that now we are getting a decent chunk of money, right? So I'm not putting out of my pocket. And by the way, all the businesses I have created, I have bootstrapped, right? My own money. So now I was not, it was at least paying for itself. And then for 1 year, they were my only client, because obviously when you create a product, it's going to be off your imagination versus what is really needed. It took a long time. So for 1 year, they were my client. They was like, hey, this is not wrong, right? But they were still paying me, right? So 1 year, then next year in 2018 is I launched with them. 2019 is when we launched to everyone else the product. So that's the story. It came with a simple, necessity, right? And then I also started to realize that it's not just a necessity, but this is not right what is happening, because all these doctors are suffering and the patients are selecting wrong doctors or not the optimal doctor for them. So that's a goal, and we have 3,000 doctors using it right now, and I can tell you that we analyze their reviews, we analyze their internal survey that we do immediately, matches 100%. So when there are, I have few clients, luckily not many, who come and complain to me about reviews. How am I getting all these bad reviews? I show them their patient satisfaction. I say, hey, I cannot invent happy patients. I mean, you have to make them happy, and that's where actually, and that is improving the product. So one of the question that was asked to me is like, how can I improve? I think I'm doing everything right. And I'm like, yeah, but you have the comment that tells you exactly. And he went there, he said, Ajay, there are like 1,000 comments. I mean, how do I read all of them and still I can't figure out what to do. So that's when we launched this, an analytical tool using AI to make sure that now all these comments we can analyze, right? And we train the engine to understand that this is doctor and all, and give an analysis to say, hey, you know what? Your bedside manner needs to improve, right? That's the biggest complaint people have, or the wait time is an issue. And the best part was that now I have the whole, I have like something like, I don't know, 9 million comments, patient comments already. So I know what should be the, what's the norm, what's the average, and where they stand versus the norm. So now this tool is also helping doctors improve their operation.
That's really amazing. It started from an insight that you had from another business.
Yes.
Got trailed into a necessity that was losing patients for doctors, and patients were kind of driving more distances.
Yeah, or going literally to a wrong doctor. Right. Because, if you are a doctor and, in those days, by the way, these days is much difficult to fake reviews. Yes. But in those days, it was so easy to fake reviews. You could have faked reviews, right? And all of a sudden, they are going to this doctor who seemed to be really, really good, but it's not really. Right. I had many primary care physicians, my client, tell me that they send their patients to specialists, and then the patient will come back and say, I don't want to go to this specialist, I want to go to this one, based on the reviews that they get. And this doctor in RepuGen, he was telling me, it's like, I know that the doctor I suggested is a better doctor than who they want to go to, but I cannot control that, right? So I said, fine, you go there, and he would write the referral to that doctor. So that's what I'm saying. So sometimes patients were even getting, wrong selection, right, in that whole process. So I really now see this as essential, really, for both patients and for doctors. I mean, so much so that I've even created a tool where I'm giving patient a better view of the doctor, because there are a lot of challenges. As a patient go to like 6-7 different sites to check, but they don't go to all the 7 sites.
Right.
So you could have a bad review on Google, but wonderful reviews on HealthGrades.
Right.
But if I just check Google, I reject you, right? So now we have even, but it's another product, and this is the thing about being a serial entrepreneur. You keep on creating it. So I have created something that is for the consumer, nothing to do with the business, that consumers can go and get a real picture of, how is the review, consolidated review rather than just one side sort of thing.
So it's great that you've been able to bring this to the doctors and the patients. I'm curious, what's your biggest challenge?
Is not the fact that anyone thinks that it's not needed, but the sense of urgency. So the sales cycle is very long. And the reason being that people who are, not in the decision-making roles like marketing, unfortunately in healthcare, marketing don't have that kind of clout like I used to have in the corporate world when I was there, where really I could go and fight with the CFO, right, the finance, and say I have to do that. So the marketing don't have a clout. So everyone in marketing knows that, and we will give them all the reason why you need it, right? They reach out to us. We will confirm their concern, but then for them to convince their, the senior executives or the decision makers to implement it and get the budget allocated, that seems to be the bigger challenge. And as a result, what we are noticing that smaller organizations, the CEO is generally interested, because CEO is very much into it, and that's like, hey, our reputation is bad. They decide like this. So a company with 10, 15 doctors takes no time to do that. The moment you go to 500,000, it is like takes forever. The budget has to be improved. So, the value of having good reviews is not understood the higher you go up in the hierarchy of the larger organization.
Further away from your patients?
Yeah, exactly. Because you're further away from your patient, so you don't understand that need, and so bridging that gap is I think that's our biggest challenge right now.
On the flip side of challenges come opportunities. What's that one exciting one that is your focus?
So right now our focus, and this also came by fluke, but then I realized that what is happening, there are already a lot of software companies who are selling to this to the healthcare providers, right? Their services, for example, patient engagement software or EMR, So they are already selling them. So two things are happening: the awareness of navigation system, the awareness of this reputation management is there. You won't meet anyone who is saying, I don't think we need it, right? So the awareness is there. So what these guys are doing now is they are realizing that they are getting squeezed by the larger organizations. So for example, Epic, they have started offering patient engagement features, right? The Press Ganey, another big one, now they are saying that we are offering navigation, this reputation management. So with this back and forth going on, they realize that they have to team up with other companies. So like startups or smaller organizations like us, we have to team up to give client a service that makes all of us look much bigger, right? And those are optional, just like this Epics of the world make it optional. So that we see a biggest opportunity. So we have signed up, and the reason I'm saying it came by fluke, because there's one gentleman in the Thai actually, and his name happens to be Nitin also. They have a EMR which is for optometrists. And their challenge was that all of a sudden, there's some of the unhappy the clients are going someplace, other people are poaching. So he said that, I need to offer something more. And so he talked to me, and we can through API integrate our feature so that they can just turn it on with reputation management from their end. And all we need is the EMR integration anyway. That's the requirement for RepuGen to be effective. So it's already EMR. So now the first thing he did is he went to some of the client that he thought he was in the danger of losing, and literally paid me, but just turned them on. They said, hey, now we are going to offer you at no additional cost for 1 year, this reputation management. And it worked. And that was like a light bulb moment again, right? It's like, oh, wait a minute, there are a lot of people like this. So we have made a concerted effort on there. We have already signed up like 3-4 channel partners. And with each channel partner, the opportunity, so that way we cross-market each other's product. And candidly, most of the time, my channel partner's product is already, so how many providers don't have EMR? Right? So they already, so it's not like, and I am very honest with them that, listen, it's not like, don't expect to get a lot of business from me, channel partner. I'm happy to highlight the fact that you're a channel partner, because I don't have any client who, or prospect who don't have EMR. But I can bet you that 90% of your client don't have reputation management. So that's the most, I think that the fantastic channels. Another example I'll give you is the IPAs. So one of the IPA here that you may have heard of, GNP, is called Greater Newport Physician. And I don't know if you know IPAs or not. These are the organizations that the doctors join, and they take care of the billing and everything. Now, and they charge a %. The challenge is the doctors can suddenly, his doctor's wife comes and says, why don't you get billing from this, my friend? And and they leave, and which is happened. So what GNP is doing now is they're offering RepuGen as a complimentary thing to all their clients. They're saying, hey, you get reputation management, you get RepuGen from us, and pay us the money, right? Because now they are able to retain more of their clients. So it's a win-win ultimately. So that's where I see the biggest opportunity right now.
And again, you call it fluke, I call it curiosity, right? You keep looking for opportunities, you keep your eyes and ears open. That's what brings about these possibilities.
I do believe that when any level of success you achieve, luck is a big factor. So the reason I am saying fluke is luck. I mean, it just so happened that Nitin, if he had not talked to me, right, about this thing, it would have not occurred to me. So that's why I'm saying. So that's why I said fluke. It's like the lucky break, right?
Sure.
So suddenly someone asks, and then you say, wow, this is a channel that we should go after.
Now, as you look at more of these opportunities coming to you, and as you're looking at the future, I want to pause and take a look back in the rear view mirror.
Sure.
And talk about 2 instances. One where things exceeded your own expectations and there was success beyond your imagination. And another one where things did not work out as you had expected. It was a failure and became a lesson learned.
Let me talk about failure first.
Sure.
So 2 years back, right, I had some very successful people in this space who have exited at 10 figures, right, in the healthcare area. Got very interested in RepuGen. I brought them in as advisors, right? Didn't ask for any money or anything. And then I took their advice very seriously, in the sense that when they advise a bunch of stuff, and I'm like, who am I to challenge them? I mean, they are so successful, so they know what they're doing, and completely changed my strategy, because based on their input, right? It was my money again. I ended up spending at least $250,000 and wasted 1 year of progress. It turned out to be a complete failure. It was, now in retrospect, I was like, how come I was so dumb? It's so obvious to me that what they were talking about was not is not relevant for business at my level. But again, you don't introspect, and so my biggest lesson that I've learned is you should never follow anyone blindly.
True.
If you respect someone is perfectly all right, and we respect a lot of people.
Right.
But just because you respect someone doesn't mean that
That's
they
right
are
for
always
you.
going to be right.
Right.
So that was my biggest failure. I'm still trying to recover from there. Right. The success you're talking about beyond my imagination is, as I told you, I have a bunch of other businesses, right, that I had created. So I had created one of the business just as a test case. It was a transcription business for my marketing, right? And then I hired this young lady out of Castle Fullerton, as a front desk person, and also my first employee, right? Front desk person, and to do some my accounting and bookkeeping, and she knew and all that, right? So all of a sudden I thought that I was in the high-tech world because my receipts from shoebox started going into QuickBook and all that, right? And I was getting a monthly P&L report and all. So I hired her, and this particular business, I was not even transcription business. It was more like a guinea pig for my marketing. So I had someone in Indiana managing it, and one day she came to me and she said, "Why are we not doing this as this?" And I'm like, "Really? You have checked?" I was so surprised because a front desk person, you don't expect them to be even curious. And she's like, "No," and I'm like, "I really like this girl." And then she's like, "I can do that if you want." I'm like, "Seriously?" So it's like, "Okay, why don't you do it?" And she took it, and this was a business that I had one time, my wife, I remember, had asked me, it's like, "What the hell you're doing, with this transcription?" And I'm like, "Who knows? I mean, one day it may make our car payment," right? That was my expectation from that business, right? And Beth took over, and all of a sudden, things started to improve. More phone calls started getting converted into customers. She started hiring and testing, and she came up with a bunch of testing for all these transcribers to make sure that we are getting good transcribers. She worked with my India team, the development team, to make the user interface user-friendly and everything. She just took charge.
Nice.
She just took charge. She didn't ask for that. She didn't ask for a raise or anything. She just took charge, and literally after like 6 months, when I saw what she was doing, I went to her and was like, "Beth, run this business.
Nice.
Do manage my finances, hire a front desk person," because I could see that when she's doing that and someone comes in, it's like, "Yeah, what it's all about, okay, I know this is what we do." It's like, no, she's way too more valuable. So suddenly from front desk, she had an office. We had a small office, but we had a room, right? So she had a room, she had a front desk person. She made few blunders hiring and failing with the front desk, but I was there and I supported her. And she made this thing such a huge success that, forget about making the car payment, it can probably make right now 10 home payments for me.
Wow.
So it is still there. She is now the president. She runs, I don't even know what happened in that business. She has like 5 people reporting directly to her, 300 independent contractor transcriptionists, 300 plus all over the country. She's part owner of the company, and it's like turned out to be massive win-win. And not just for me financially, but I am so happy to see her where she is. I am so happy, all the people that are working. I mean, she forwards me all the time the notes that she gets from transcribers in a small time USA where there's no job. And so these are the people who are making $20, $25 per hour. And someone is saying, "I was able to buy my grandsons, all my grandkids gift for Christmas for the first time, thanks to you." So it's just making a difference for everyone. True. This is like a really turned out to be a very win-win situation for everyone. And of course, I have many, I think 13,000 plus happy customers. We have already done something like 9 million minutes of transcribing and everything. So all in all, big success.
We're really happy for you and really happy for Beth. that this worked out.
Thank you.
It takes trust both ways for something like this to work out.
Obviously.
That's amazing. I would love for us to move to my favorite part of the show,
Okay.
which I call the one-line life lessons. Would love for you to share some of your life lessons with us.
Sure. So I will, so one thing that I have, and my mentor, told me a long time back, because I came here, went into a corporation with 2 years into this country and all at school. So I didn't know anyone. And one of my mentors long time back said, so a couple of things that really stuck to me. His number one was like, always focus win-win. So his thing was that even in the amazing scenario where it's a win for you and lose for someone else, walk away. You should only do deals which is win-win, which I really took it to heart. So much so that I would, in the beginning, corporations, right, we'd have vendors, and as in marketing, as I started to move up, I had more and more budget under control. And a few times as a CEO, I would said, maybe I can squeeze the vendor, I can ask for something else. And he would say, AJ, you want to make sure that they also walk out. He would, not in front of them, but he would always remind me, it's like, make sure that when they walk out, they feel good about, this relationship. So that is my biggest, I always focus on that, the win-win relationship. The second thing he told me, which I have always implemented, life lesson, is when there is a difference in understanding, right? So, for example, you thought that, this I should be able to cancel this relationship anytime, but the contract actually says that you have to give me 3 months notice, right? He said anytime there is a conflict, even if you are right, give them the benefit of doubt. Don't think that they are there to cheat you. Maybe that was their understanding, and you don't want to leave them with a bad taste in their mouth, right? So as a result, I do that. You talk to my people, we sign contracts, and there are times when, we lose clients just like everyone else. And if they come in and they say, this is what my understanding, we don't ask a question. We said, oh, sorry, but I just want you to know this is what it was. But no problem, it was our fault. We did not highlight it, so that's what it is. So that is like the two things that I learned from my mentor, how to be a right. And by the way, he was the most beloved CEO I have really seen. I mean, this guy, don't ask me, obviously he just picked me up out of nowhere. I'm just sitting there as a lost someone, right? I was a hard worker, so I was the first in, last out. And he just chose to become my mentor. Literally, he said, mentorship lunch, he asked his secretary to set it up. So, and we are still very good friends. Obviously, he's like 80 years old, but anytime when now he lives in Bay Area. If I go to Bay Area, I will have, as a family, now, Minu knows them very well. So those are the two lessons I learned from someone else, but I implemented. As an entrepreneur, I've also learned that you want to make sure that you believe in what you're doing. So needless to say, it has to be win-win for you and your customer. But you should believe in it. You should feel good about it, right? In order to sustain. And the reason being that you will get, amazing ups and downs when you are especially entrepreneur. The way I explain it is, when you're in corporation working for a company, right, your stress level is like this, right? It's a little bit up and down depending on boss's mood is good or you have a deadline. When you are an entrepreneur, your stress level is this, the fluctuation. This is how it is. You have highs and lows, right? You want to make sure that you like it enough that when you hit the lows, you don't give up, because I cannot tell you how many times I thought about quitting, going back into the workforce, and every time I would remind myself that again, but I won't have my control, right? So my reason for getting into business was I wanted to control, my life, and I had to remind it. So you have to go there for a good reason. You have to like what you're doing, right, and make sure that it's a win-win, right, for you and your customer. And I'll give you an example that it varies. Like I have some clients who provide loan to people who are, I guess no one else gives loan, right, at high rate.
Hard money loans.
Yeah, hard money loan. Now, I would be uncomfortable doing that business, but when you talk to them, they are very comfortable. They are saying, Ajay, who is going to help them?
Right.
Your car is broken, you cannot even go to the office tomorrow. So how do you do that? So in their mind, they are providing a big benefit, right? So again, idea is that it, and I don't challenge it, right? So, but it is for everyone to decide, but make sure that you know that you are in a business that has a real value. Definitely. And then the other thing I would say is, don't get into entrepreneurship unless you have the fortitude to deal with the hard times, because you will have a hard time no matter what other people say. We tend to look at the end results, but we don't look at the journey aspect of it, of that person. So just make sure that you are, again, and the only way you can do that, you have to have persistence, right? It's persistence is the key for entrepreneurs. Persistence doesn't mean being stupid or stubborn, that I will just keep on doing the same thing. Persistent is also means, okay, it didn't work, but that doesn't mean that the product is a failure, right? Take a step back, try to fix it, tweak it. So that's what I mean by persistence. You have to have it, right? And one thing, and I had that, and it will come to me, but I mean, I would say these are some of the main things, that the life lessons that I have learned, and then trust people. That's what I was going to say. I think we talked about it also earlier. I'm a big believer in that, where I would rather trust someone and let them break the trust than assume that they are not trustworthy. I'm very big into that, and as a result, yes, I get cheated 100%. I've gotten, but then I get people like Beth. I will tell you interesting story about Beth. She was like 6 months, barely 6 months into the working for me. So not big success or whatever. But don't ask me what happened. And when I think back, maybe she could see how much I trusted her. One day she just walked into my office and said, I just want you to know that unless you fire me, I will never leave you. And she was making $700 a week. So it's not like she was, that was her thing. It's like, I will never leave you. And I really think that maybe it was trust. I don't ask me what happened, but I think that by my attitude of trusting, I do have people who are happier, working, all my associates. I mean, they, and then even in India, India cheating is rampant, right? And even there, I've been in business for 18 years, and I have probably 20 people who have stayed with me for more than 15 years. And they will not leave me. They're the same thing. It's like, because I know I'm not paying them highest if they wanted, but they like, I guess, being trusted, and they take it very seriously. So, even my head of technology, it's not unusual that he's woken up at 3 a.m. to fix some kind of issue that we have, and he has never complained. He will never be annoyed. Even all my employees here, they really appreciate it. It's like, God, even when I call Izzy that, I know it's 3 a.m. there, and I never even hear. It's like, oh, hi, okay, let me check. And so, I'm that way. I think that one of the reasons I'm blessed with right people is because I also trust them.
True.
So I always feel sorry for people who are, look at, the first thing they look for is, how is this person going to cheat me, right? What's the bad thing about the people? It's like, just look for the good thing, and most of the people are good. very few people I know who, I had experienced some, but as a percent, a very tiny percent, who are trying to, you know, really get unwanted benefit kind of thing, just because you are trusting, and also you will find out, then you just drop them, and that's it. It's no one has cheated me so much to make it fatal. It's like, oh my God, now I am on the street. You shouldn't be that stupid. But other than that, I think trust as much as possible. That will be my last thing, and that is like more like not just business, just in personal life also. The more you trust people, they trust you, and you have a good relationship.
Yeah, we send out good vibes, we get good vibes back.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a big believer, and that is something I learned from my mom.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it's not like I wish that I could say that I was genius. I came up with all these real life experiences, but yeah, I have used them, and I don't regret them. Though that I would say is definitely you should do that.
Ajay, thank you so much for sharing your one-line life lessons, but also for sharing your story and your journey with us. Congratulations on all of your successes, and here's to a lot more of them.